Now, mixing law and politics is perilous, but ironically, that seems to be how the Nigerian justice system functions. It is therefore striking to imagine a Nigeria without a justice system. It is even worse to have one that cannot ensure the supremacy of the law over politics or dispense justice according to the spirit and letters of the law. Of late, Nigeria's judiciary has become a tale of a system that is fast losing its steam and fierceness. Sometimes the authenticity of judicial proceedings and judgment is being questioned by laymen. Many have called for the Nigerian justice system to be reformed without further delay. This will make the justice system to save its face and have a clear distinction and ascend to its pride of place in dispensing justice without fear or favor. Now, we have to give us perspectives on the issue of dispensing justice in Nigeria. We have Sunusi Musa Esquire in the studio. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, so why is judicial independence important?
I think it is important in the sense that if you go back the formation of government under democracy, where you have the concept of three arms of government, when you have the legislature, which is the first by the provision of our constitution, were the one that the legislatures have legislature has a duty to make policies, those laws that they make, while the executive now have a duty of translating those policies into action. And while the judiciary, who are the arbiter, are there to interpret those laws and make sure that in the application of those laws, the executive did not go out within the confines of the law, and it will give the interpretation which shows the intendment of the legislature vis-a-vis the provision of the constitution in making those laws. And also the judiciary is there as a protector of the common man, in the sense that it is the judiciary that gives me the comfort, that gives my mother the comfort that should anybody try to infringe on her right, or should anybody try to do anything that is contrary to the law, she can now approach the judiciary that is there to protect her and make sure that either somebody either within the government or outside the government, however powerful, cannot use his power against the poor man outside the confines of the law. So the importance of the judiciary cannot be overemphasized, but unfortunately, let me say, me and you do not appreciate the importance of the judiciary, and more especially the press. Actually, you seems to give more coverage to the activities of the legislature and the executive.
No,
I'm coming.
I think I'm going to counter that.
No,
because,
you may. But,
because most of the time,
let me tell you what I'm trying
the
to
press
say.
are not really giving access, to some of these places.
Yes.
No,
and this serves as a barrier to the kind of information that they put out.
The courts are open for everybody to go. They decide their cases in open.
But there are certain cases that the press are not giving access to.
That's which case? Only cases that borders on national security, that are very minute. The courts are open every day for everybody to go. But that is not what I'm talking about. You see, you just don't get concerned about, because this is where you people are getting it wrong, or all the Nigerians are getting it wrong. We are more concerned about the pronouncement that have been made by the judiciary on some certain cases. But we are concerned about the type of person that is elected as a president. We are concerned sometimes about the type of person that hates the legislature, either the president of the Senate or the speaker. Even sometimes we are concerned about the type of people that are elected into those places. But we don't seem to be more concerned about the process of selecting people to man the judicial offices that we have.
Right.
So you find out that sometimes, because we don't give that coverage to it. People don't show concern. Now you find that people that ought not to be in those positions are being appointed. Because look, I'm a lawyer, and I think I can claim to be a stakeholder in the justice sector. Now, in a situation where we seem to have make it look like becoming a senior advocate of Nigeria is much more important than becoming a judge of the High Court, I think we are not doing the right thing. If you want to be a senior advocate of Nigeria, you are subjected to a process that is even allow the public to make comment about you and say that whether this person is fit and proper person.
But we don't get to see that. We don't get
No. Because it's when people apply to be senior advocate of Nigeria, the authority advertise their name and say, public, come and comment. Then why are we not having that in the process of appointment of judges? Because for somebody, a lawyer, if you're a senior advocate, it's only the person who comes and wants your services that you offer. But for the judge, whether if you are a litigant, you don't have a choice if your case is taken before a judge. So we must subject the people that get to the bench. But by this, I'm not saying that, because when you look, sometimes we are not also fair to the judiciary, because we only, like say, we have so many judges all over the country that churn out decision every day. But we just take, our concern is over the few cases that have to do with political situation in the land. When we take that and say that's not fair also. So, but what I'm saying, the importance of the judiciary, the justice sector, we must all of us see the we must all of us see that it is important, and we must do things that will subject the process of even those who man those courts to such scrutiny, and to see that we have fit and proper people in that place.
Okay, now talking about politics, now can you tell us the extent of political influence on judiciary in Nigeria?
Look, you see, this is my problem. There is nothing that is not politics. Look, in the US, where we copy this, when you look at the judges, you now see that in their appointment, you see their political history.
Mostly.
So what is bad about being a politician? There is nothing bad about that. What matters is whether in your decision, because why are you made to subscribe to an oath that you'll do right to all manner of people without affection or ill will? You know, it's your political lineage does not matter, and this has to do with either you are a governor or a legislator or any public office that you are holding. What matters is for us to have people that knows that they even after leaving office, and they believe that there is a supernatural being that is there waiting for them to answer for their action. So the appointment of judges, what is it? It's a political decision. Because the president has to take a decision to appoint them, or the governor when they are recommended for such appointment. In the case of the heads of court, it has to go also to the legislature. So all these are political decisions, but my problem is this limited definition we give to our politics, to think that anything politics is bad, which is very bad.
Isn't it because of the way it's done here in Nigeria?
It is not. Look, if you say the politics is bad, then stop complaining about bad governance. Because you can only have a government through political process. And you cannot continue to say that the entire politics is bad and you expect that, okay, what is bad cannot give you something good, certainly. Isn't it? So you cannot think that the entire politics is bad, and this is why we are having problem every day. We think that once something says politics is bad, okay, how do you expect to have good governance? Anything we do, one way or the other, is tied to politics in the wider sense of it. Because one of the definition of politics is that this is it what they call it is taking decisions, and one must take decision, either rightly or wrongly. They are political decisions.
I think fear is, the judiciary being impartial. This is why a lot of people are actually against, like politics. But like you've said, there's politics everywhere.
Look, you see, we look, the judges, the judges are not from the sky. They are product of this society. That is why even in their code of conduct, because nobody expects a human being not be partial, that is why in their code of conduct they are excluded from deciding over some cases that has to do with people that are close to them. Right. Do you get the point? What matters is, as a judge, your duty is to apply the law. Then, but like I said, the appointment process has to be checked so that people that are good are appointed, people that merit it are appointed. And I think I want you, when you do, maybe I know like the trust company as a whole, you engage in a lot of investigative journalism of recent. You need to take a holistic look about what this justice sector. Sometimes, in fairness to the judges, because they don't talk, it is not their fault.
Okay.
You have the police, you have the lawyers in the Ministry of Justice, you have those of us from the private sector. All of us have a role to play in how the justice sector works.
Right.
Because the judge cannot do everything at one time. You see some lawyers trying to employ every type of tricks to delay cases.
That's this brings me, to the next question, because a lot of the complaints that mostly people make is about the slow dispensation, of justice, and that judges give justice, to the highest bidder. Why do we get to see, all of this things happening? Is it that we have a low number, of judges, or what really is the problem?
No, I think one. In some cases, of course, I agree, maybe like places like Abuja, but I think it is not even the low number of judges. Maybe at the higher bench, like in the higher courts, you have the when you see the cases, then but you need to know that we have the magistrate courts, we have the area courts, and the customary courts. I think the stakeholders in the judiciary need to do a holistic review of the system. Whereas you have people that are working at the lower level, which are the most closest to the ordinary people, the magistrate court, the area courts, and the customary court, for instance, is in Abuja. We don't give much concern about how they do their work, because those are those that affect the common man. But we are more concerned about the work of the high courts, because the elites, me and you, is what concerns us, and we only get to. So of course the work may be too much, and also this conservatism we have, our refusal to go with time. Mike, you ought to this time the judges write with long hand.
When does technology?
Of course. They do with long hand. Whatever, for all this, what we are doing now, the judge is expected, whatever I say, he must write it down. And so you can imagine how many witnesses he can be able to take in a day, in a particular case. Those are things that we must try and see how we can improve and get away from that to have technology that to be able to do the transcribing. But I'm sure like Abuja High Court they are running some trial version in some of the courts there. Then maybe the number of judges also, and also the attitude of the lawyers. I know in some states, with all respect to most of the lawyers in the chambers of the Attorney General, many of them don't really appreciate the burden on them, the burden that impose on them to prosecute criminal cases. They don't understand that they have a huge burden to ensure that the society goes in the right way. And maybe, and that has to do also, probably sometimes they too, they have their limitation, because if they are not provided with the wherewithal of doing the work, certainly they will have a limitation to do it. Then maybe also sometimes you have the challenge of bringing those accused from the courts, which I have seen recently that the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation is starting to make the new policy whereby that we will have facilities from the correctional centers where that the accused person need not to be present. We can have be Zoom process, so that they can, from there they can be called, and while the court is sitting where it is. So maybe if at the end of the day we are able to have this incorporated into the system, we will see more efficiency and effectiveness in the way things are done. But I think Nigeria has a long way to go. We have to learn in our appointment process, because look at what's happening in here Kenya. When you see that appointment of judges is open. People can see when the interview process is being done, is live on TV, so that people, and this issue of seeing it as if like a promotion, when somebody is in the High Court or go to the Court of Appeal, you know, all these are things that will have to really change. And I don't know how we'll view it. When you critically look at our constitution, we have a federal constitution, but unfortunately our judiciary is unitary. Unitary in the sense that when you want to appoint a judge in Akwa Ibom, the Chief Justice of Nigeria or the National Judicial Council must have a say in how you do it. You know, you make it more unitary.
Some are, you know, of the opinion that the executive are not, have pointed, you know, the inability of the executive to liberate, you know, the judicial system.
How? I don't understand the question.
You know, many of our opinion that there's an interference, you know, in the way the justice system is being carried out.
You see, my approach to issues is that Nigerians, we tend to be very lazy. Lazy in the sense that we want law to do everything for us. No. It doesn't work that way. Nigerians, look, the way democracy is built, it is built in such a way that every person in the society has a duty to make sure we have a good governance. The governor is elected by the people, isn't it? He's elected to do the right thing. If you don't do the right thing, the legislator that is elected by the people are there to check him or to impeach him. If the legislature refuses to impeach him, the people are given the power to remove the legislator from office. Why are they not doing it? You know? So everybody has a role to play. And just like I think I'm seeing a report today saying that the decision of the federal government to increase the salary of the police by 20%, which was part of the demand of the NSAS protesters. That shows you that, yes, if people, the citizens, are ready to do their own part, then they will force the government to do the right thing. If the governor is trying to compromise the judges, what are the citizens doing to protect the judges? If you don't do anything, he may end up being...
How can they protect the judges?
That's what I'm just giving you an example now. They must take interest in what is going on. If they see any inkling that he wants to compromise the judge, maybe the next thing, the judge may be afraid that the governor can initiate a process of removing him from office using the State House of Assembly. Isn't it? Okay, where are the people? Will the people be there to protect him? To make sure that the executive and the legislature do not abuse their office to remove him from his office? If they are not there to do that for him, what do you expect from him? He's human. So what I'm trying to say is, we always, this holier than thou attitude that we always have, you know, thinking that, you know, it is, it is the fault of Mr. A. Me, I have no problem. It is not my fault. No, everybody must see the system that in this run for good governance, each and every one of us has a duty, has a role to play. And if you don't play it, stop complaining. The citizen must have a role to play, and they must play their role. If there is anybody who is trying to do the right thing, the people must come collectively to protect that person. But no, everybody don't want to do that. You know, we just think that we want ideal situation without working. We want to talk, to say things are bad. No, things don't work that way. And to be sincere, I'm not saying there are no political influence in some decision. I'm not saying that. But I think the way our legal system is put in place, the judges are given some leverage, some good coverage for independence and protection in how they carry out their duty. More especially, like I say, it is unitary in such a way that the governor is not given the power to just remove a judge from office without involving even the National Judicial Council, which is up here. Those are some of the protection that are there for the judges to carry out their duty. Like I always said, we must go and check the appointment process. It's very, very important.
All right. Now, still talking about, slow dispensation of justice. In your opinion, do you think establishing special courts will help, curb all of that?
Special court as how?
Having special courts, like courts for trying corruption cases, special courts for different kinds of cases.
No, I don't think. What my own idea is, I don't agree, I don't subscribe to the idea having the laws saying that this particular court is established for corruption related cases. No. My own is, I want to see a situation whereby the judicial system, the courts will now try and create a specialization within the judicial system. We have family courts, for instance, that we have. Then we have the criminal courts, we have the commercial courts. Now, in such a way that if you have that now in the appointment process, you will now know that you need to have lawyers who are versatile in commercial activities, in commercial transactions, to be appointed into the bench, so that when you have cases that has to do with commercial issues, you now tailor it toward them. You need to have those with specialization in family laws, for instance, those with specialization in the criminal law, how the corrupt, so that you now tailor cases. But where you have a law that creates that, the reason why I say this is that so that while they are, that you are giving them those cases, you can also give them other cases. Because, for instance, let me tell you one thing. For you to have an economic prosperity, it is not your policies that will attract investment must take into cognizance your judicial system. Look, no serious investor will come and invest in an economy that will come and invest, let's say, $1 billion. And just tomorrow, because I have a problem with another person, he will rush to court and get an ex parte order stopping me from carrying on business until that case is decided. A normal judge may likely do that, but any judge with commercial sense, those commercial background, will not do that. Because it is better to allow the business go on while you are trying to solve the problem, and have a way that, because look, you have to serve the business. Why? Because you are serving it, because you have to help the society, the people that are working there. It's part of the economic activities that if you now lock the place, all the people that are working there, they have now lost their job, revenue will be affected, their livelihood will be affected. And I don't think that is the intendment of the people that are having problem with that business. What you want is for him to get a redress. So if you close that business, you now have a situation whereby you are now adding pressure to the economy because you have sent another set of people into the unemployment market. So that is why if we have that specialization of appointing judges with different background, so that when the chief judge in assigning cases, you see that this is a case that involves serious commercial activity, that may billions of naira. Oh, I don't need to care. Let me not take this case, this judge who has risen to become director of public prosecution and now is a judge, because he will not appreciate that. Let me check who is that person that was appointed from the private legal practice who has seen that he was a commercial lawyer. You know, those are the things that, but I don't subscribe to just having laws that will create different, because this is the problem we have with the creation of EFCC, ICPC, you know. These are works that ought to be done by the police. Instead of strengthening what we have, we now start creating other agencies that will do that, while at the long run we are weakening those that will have a holistic understanding of the issue. This is my own humble opinion actually on this issue.
Okay, all right. I think with that we would have to wrap up this discussion. Thank you so much, Sanusi Musa Esquire, for joining us on this discussion today.
Thank you very much.